All right, I think we are getting this show on the road. So, welcome. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. If you're watching this later in the future at some point, I just hope that you're having a good. Today, let's just get right into it and show you what we will be talking about. So, before we begin, as you join this live lesson, again, tell us your name, let us know where you're from, and also if you're watching this later on in the future, again, use the comments, write your name, write a question, say hello, tell us where you are watching from, and just join the community because it's always good to continue practicing your writing, and it's a great way to communicate. So today, as you can see, we are going to do a grammar lesson. Yes. We're going to be doing a grammar lesson talking about articles. So, again, some people are joining us. Hello, Hajar from Malaysia. Awesome. Estella, Mohammed, excellent. Awesome to have you. Glad you guys are with us. So, as I said, today we're going to talk about articles, and I promise if you stick with us, you will learn something that you did not know before. Because again, this is something that articles we learn at probably a beginner level, and we're constantly using them throughout English. And there are some tricky rules to articles. Now, there are three things that you should know about articles. So there are the definite article, the. There is also the indefinite article, which is a and an. We are not going to talk about those today. And then there is the zero article, in which case we don't use anything at all. So today I'm just going to focus on the definite and zero article and when to use them and show you the difference between the two. And then at the end, we are going to do a practice, and I am going to see just how much you were paying attention. So again, if you're just joining us, say hello, Eduardo from Brazil. Hope your summer's going well. Actually, no, wait, in Brazil, it's winter there, getting my north and southern hemispheres mixed up. Anyway, I hope everything's well. Hi from Sri Lanka, excellent. Also, if you guys want to be super, super, super helpful, you can share this video and tell others and bring more to our classroom so everybody can learn about articles. So again, today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between the definite article, the, and the zero article, in which case we're not using anything. So let's get into it and talk about when to use the definite article, the. Okay, so as you can see right here, we're talking about when to use the definite article, the. If you have any questions about this lesson in particular, write them in the comments. Just, I'll get to them. If it's a separate question related to maybe pronunciation or something else, still write it. And I will get to it at the end of the lesson. But right now I want to focus on articles. So when to use the. So here's a fun little fact for you that according to the Oxford English Corpus, the is the most common word in English. That's probably not surprising, or it shouldn't be surprising. We use this word all the time. And the Oxford English Corpus is just a collection of basically the English language. It's a collection of English in books, in speeches, in writing, and the is the most common word, so you can see just how important it is. Now, we use the before singular and plural nouns, and this is the key thing when we want to talk about something specific. So the articles, we use them before nouns, and it kind of shows the relationship of this noun and kind of gives us more information about the noun. So we're using the when we're talking about something specific. So for example, let's look at this conversation down below, these two people talking and kind of these random sentences. The first one says, "The car is in the shop." So if I say the car, we basically know which car is being talked about. It could be my car, it could be my family's car, it could be my friend's car. But if I say the car, then basically we know which car is being discussed. It is specific. Now, if we look at the other use of the definite article, the car is in the shop. All right, again, this is specific. We know what kind of shop we're talking about. Now, are we talking about a grocery store? No. Are we talking about a flower shop? No. If you're talking about a car that is in the shop, you should know that we're talking about the mechanic. The car is broken, something is wrong with it, so we took it to the shop. The next one is don't, and the other person just responds out of nowhere and says, "Hey, don't buy the new iPhone." Again, Ioana has an iPhone. Many of us like iPhones. I have some Apple products. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy the new iPhone. If you want to, feel free. This is just an example. So don't buy the new iPhone. There are many different iPhones, but we're talking specifically about the new one. The other thing to keep in mind here is new is an adjective that is modifying iPhone. We're talking about a new iPhone, and the comes before the adjective. The new iPhone, the big house, the purple cat. I don't know. All right, so the will always come before the adjective. Again, if you're just joining us, say hello to us in the comments. Tell us your name, where you're from. We're doing a lesson today on articles. And then I'm going to do a practice at the end. So it is very important that you guys practice what you learn, and we will try to make this as active as possible. So please write to us in the comments and let us know. So these are all ways that you are using the. So let's look at the zero article. All right. Let's switch here. So here we go. All right. The zero article is right here. We use it before plural or non-count nouns that are not specific. Okay, so plural nouns, you know that things that typically get an S added to the end of it. A non-count noun are nouns that you can't count, or basically like any liquid. Water, soda, tea, or hair is also a non-count noun. So let's see. For example, I want you to try to use this in a sentence. In one of them, I will ask you a question, and I want you to answer it. What do you like to drink? All right. I want you to tell me what you like to drink. It is a non-count noun. Write it in the comments. Do not use an article, okay? So look at these examples we have again another weird little conversation here. Apples are good for your teeth. Apples is plural, all right? But we are talking, is it specific? No. We are talking about it in a general sense. Do we know which apples we are talking about? No. All right, just apples in general. Could be red apples, could be green apples, any apple. They're good for your teeth. So we do not use an article before the noun apples. All right, this is when the zero article comes into play. And then the next one, all right, I like to drink water. Again, water is a non-count noun. So again, we do not use an article in front of the noun water. Excellent example sentence. Perfect. Eduardo, I like to drink coffee. I also like to drink coffee. I've probably had a little too much coffee today, but hey, that's okay. It is what it is. Another great sentence. I like to drink juice. Again, these are non-count nouns. Do not use an article. And this is the thing, as simple as this is right now, these are the common mistakes that whether you are a beginner learner or whether you are an advanced learner, that you would hear people make from time to time. And they might use an article in front of a non-count noun. Because when you're having a conversation and when you're talking, you're not really thinking about, okay, wait, is this a non-count noun? Should I use an article? Should I not use an article? You're just going to say it. So these are good ways to just continuously practice, and it's easy. And then when you continue to use English in speaking and writing, you will just be using it correctly because you've practiced these simple little things that we're doing today. All right, so let's look at the next part. I want to compare the two. I want to show you basically a little the difference between them. Let's compare these, okay? So here we have two sentences. One has the definite article the other sentence has the zero article, and there is nothing. So again, it's a difference between whether something is specific or whether it is not specific. So let's look at these two sentences. The boys play soccer, okay? It is specific. We know which boys we are talking about. We are talking about those boys right there, okay? The boys play soccer. We know them, or we can see them, or we know about these boys, and therefore it is specific, and we use the definite article the. Now, in the next sentence, we're using the zero article, and we're just making a statement saying, well, boys play soccer, all right? We don't know which boys we're talking about. We just know that some boys play soccer. So this is the difference between the definite and the zero article, all right? The definite is going to be specific. The zero article is just in general. And because of that, this picture down here, you can see we can't really see the boys. We don't know them. And actually, the picture looks a bit funny because I don't know, nobody really wears a hat like that when they play soccer, but you get the idea, okay? Again, if you're just joining us, say hello to us in the chat. We are talking about articles, the definite article, and the zero article. Now, what I want to do is go over some of the rules. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, gosh, I don't like rules because it's just more things that we have to memorize, that we have to think about. So rules, yeah, they can be problematic because it's just more information you have to learn. The good thing is, however, is that because there are certain rules to follow, then you know what is correct and what is incorrect. It's just a matter of using them correctly when you are speaking or when you are writing. Now, some of these rules, these are not all of the rules when it comes to the definite article and the zero article, but these are some of them that maybe you knew, maybe that you didn't know. So we use the when we are talking about rivers, all right? Anytime you're talking about a river, we should use an article the Nile River, the Ganges River, all right? So with rivers, we use the. We also use the definite article when talking about oceans, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. So actually, right now in the comments, let's do it. I want you to tell me the name of a river in your country, okay? Tell me the name of a river in your country and use the definite article the, all right? Maybe I'll learn some new names of rivers. And if you're watching this later on, again, don't just sit there watching the video. Use the comments section. It's basically the same as a chat. Write the name of the river in there. Say hello. Say what's up. Write a question, and we will get back to you. It doesn't matter whether it's tomorrow or a year from now. Just use the comments section. So again, in the chat, write the name of a river in your country. a famous river, a local river, it doesn't matter, all right? Just write the name and use the definite article the, okay? We also use the when we are talking about bridges. Perfect, Marcela, the river Amazonas. All right, excellent. We use the when we're talking about bridges. For example, this is where we used to live in San Francisco, and you have the famous Golden Gate Bridge. The Amazon River, excellent, awesome. One of the most, probably the most famous river in the world, excellent. So we use it with bridges, also with regions, okay? So we're talking about, you just gave some examples with the Amazon River. The Amazon is a region, okay? You can say it is an area that is defined. So we can use the with the region. The Everglades, which is in Florida, is another region. You can also use it when you're talking about regions such as on the coast, the West Coast, the East Coast. Maybe you're talking about a region in the southeast part of a country. So anytime you are identifying a region, you would want to use the definite article the, okay? The West Coast, the East Coast, the Northwest, the Northeast, the Southwest. Use the with regions. If you're just joining us, again, welcome. We're talking about articles. I know some of you probably joined, you're like, articles, oh, psh, I'm out of here. No, giving you some quick rules and tips of when to use the and when to use no article, because again, some of these things, these little rules can be tricky. The Ganga is the biggest river in India. Excellent, thank you. Again, this is all good practice. So finally, we use the when we are talking about buildings, okay? Buildings or sites, all right? So for example, in New York City, one of the most famous buildings in New York City is the Empire State Building. Also, a very well-known landmark in Paris is the Eiffel Tower. So we use it with buildings, we use it with landmarks. That is when we use the definite article the. Now, no article, all right? I think learning the is a little more easier. I think the no article becomes tricky because people just have a natural tendency to use the instead of using no article. Hey, Ricardo, how's it going? Happy to have you with us again today. Excellent. So we're talking about rules for articles. Now, we use no article with names, okay? I think when you're more advanced learners, I don't think they have an issue with this, but definitely for more beginner and intermediate learners, I will often hear the with names all the time. Not so much with people, like friends when they're talking about him, but when you're talking about somebody, for example, like in history, King George, all right? No article. It is the name of a person. Or somebody famous, the late Michael Jackson. Mostly everybody knows who Michael Jackson is, but again, we would not use an article with the name of a person. The next one, which is also confusing, streets, street names. We do not use the with street names. So for example, Park Avenue is a famous street that you would find in the US. Main Street is a common name of a street that you will find. Again, you do not use the with the names of streets. So I want you, again, in the comments, let's just practice. What is the name of a famous street in your city or town? What's the name of a famous street or a popular street in the downtown area? You can just write a famous street is blah, blah, blah. All right. And remember, do not use an article. This is easy, but this is all good practice. Another great location, exactly. Somebody said the Taj Mahal. Again, that is a landmark. We use the definite article the. So continuing with no articles, we don't use articles with names. We don't use articles with the names of streets, okay? We just say the street names. We also don't use it with languages, okay? We just say English, or I'm learning English, I'm learning Spanish, I'm learning Japanese, I'm learning Swahili. We do not use the with the languages, okay? Also, lakes, all right? So, for example, Lake Titicaca is a famous lake in Bolivia. No article with that. Lake Malawi, famous lake in the country of Malawi. And again, there is no article with lakes. Now, there's little exception here if you are talking about a group of lakes. All right, then you would use it an article. So, for example, you could say the Great Lakes. All right, lakes is plural, and it's talking about a collection of lakes. In that case, you would use an article, but again, that is a rare exception. Typically, with the names of lakes, we are not using an article. If you're just joining us, say what's up, say hello to us in the comments. What's your name? Where are you joining us from? And stay with us. We are getting ready to do a quick practice. We're talking about articles, the definite article the, and the zero article. So finally, we use no article with the names of mountains, all right? So think of famous mountains that around the world. Probably first one, Mount Everest, okay? Everybody knows of Mount Everest, and we don't use an article with Mount Everest. Also, Mount Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain in South America. Again, no article with that. We have people joining us. Turkey, excellent. Welcome. Glad to have you. So these are not all the rules, but again, these are rules that you should be aware of. They exist when it comes to using articles. And again, with speaking, you're just going to talk. You're probably not going to think about the rules. With writing, you might be a little more conscious of it. But this is a very simple lesson because I think all of you watching this right now, you understand this. Like, oh, okay, we use the with the name of a river. Okay, we use no article with a name. The difference is once you get into that conversation, it becomes a whole new thing, and this is where people make small mistakes. So it's good to just do a quick little practice, a quick little refresher, a little reminder as to when you should and should not use these. So again, these are the rules, and now I would like to practice. Stephen, could you speak a little slower? Yes, I will try, all right? So let's practice, again, these rules. I want to go over quickly just to review, in case you are now joining us, that we use, here is again, when to use the definite article. We use it with singular and plural nouns when we want to be specific. When you know what the noun that is being talked about, use the definite article the. So if I say, hey, let's go to the park, then you should know which park I'm talking about because it is specific, the park. If we're talking about zero articles, again, to review, we use those with plural and non-count nouns when we are not being specific. We are talking about things in general. Okay, I gave you those two example sentences. Apples are good for your health. We don't need the article, and I like to drink water. I just asked all of you a while back, what do you like to drink? It's a liquid, it's a non-count noun, it is not specific, so you'd say, yes, I like to drink tea, I like to drink juice, I like to drink soda, I like to drink water, okay? So now let's do our little practice. So I am going to give you, all right, a sentence right here, all right? And what I want you to do is I want you to write in the comments the answer, all right? I want you to write the, or for no article, you can just put an X. Now, if you want to be, go above and beyond and do a bit more practice, then you can write the full sentence in the comments, okay? Are you using no article or are you using the definite article the? So this first sentence, the first sentence we have is this, all right? Look at cats over there. Look at cats over there. We are talking about the plural noun cats. Are we going to use the definite article the or the zero article? In which case, just write X and just put it in the chat. Again, if you are watching this later on, next week, in the future, next year, 10 years from now, you can still do this practice. Use the comments section that you see and just write the answer. Again, it's always good to produce the language and actually use it instead of just watching. All right. So we're getting some comments. All right. So again, we're talking about cats. Let me see. In this situation, all right, I'm saying look at cats over there. All right. So putting this into context, you would think, well, we are looking at the cats. We can see the cats that we are talking about. In that case, it is specific. All right. So we would want to say this. Look at the cats over there. Look at the cats over there. It's specific. We know which cats we are talking about. All right. Let's do another one. Okay, so the next one that I have for you guys, and we'll see if we can make this fit, is this question right here. All right. Let me change this around a little. So, in this next sentence, all right, there are two that you need to fill in, all right? I'm going to make them try to make them a little more difficult, a little more tricky as we go along, all right? So it is, doctors say drinking, soda is unhealthy. So there are two nouns. The first one is the plural noun doctors, okay? The next one is soda, all right? So before doctors, are we going to use the definite article the or no article, all right? And then before the next one, soda, are we going to use, again, is it the or is it no article? All right, I'll give you just a moment. Again, write your answers in the comments. If you're a quick typer, all right, go ahead and write the whole sentence if you can. It makes it, that's even better. If not, then just write either the or an X. The for definite and X for no article. So let's see. What do you guys think? XX, it depends. Yes, it does depend. Yeah. Again, try to put it into context. See what you think about, what if you're having this conversation. Again, I put all of it in quotes. So it's kind of like, we're having a conversation here. If somebody was saying this to you, what would it mostly be? All right. What are we talking about? What do you think? Doctors say drinking soda is unhealthy. All right. So without further ado, let me tell you what it is. All right. So if this situation, again, we're talking about probably, doctors in general, because not often are you going to be talking about doctors in a specific sense of that, the doctors, you see the group of doctors. Typically, you might talk about the doctor as in one person. So in this case, we would be saying it would be the no article. Bam. Doctors say drinking, again, no article. Soda is unhealthy. Soda is a non-count noun. It's just talking about in general, something that doctors would tell you, all right? Doctors say drinking soda is unhealthy. We do not use an article before either of those nouns. Next one, let's do this one. Let's see, change it up on you a little bit, or maybe not. Right here, what do you think? Okay, so let me make sure this fits into... There we go. That's a little better. So we have Washington Boulevard is named after George Washington. All right, again, there's two nouns. Washington Boulevard. I'll give you a hint. A boulevard is a type of street, okay? A boulevard. It's kind of a synonym, again, for talking about a street. And George Washington, all right? Little American history question for you. George Washington is a person. He was a general during the Revolutionary War and the first president of the United States. So, what do you think? Again, we're talking, are you going to use, again, there's two nouns. We're talking about Washington Boulevard, street, and George Washington, person. All right? Washington Boulevard is named after George Washington. Again, if you just joined us, we're doing a little practice with the definite article the and the no article. All right? So just warm up those fingers and write the answers in the chat. Okay? What do you guys think? All right? So we are getting some answers. All right. We had one question. Somebody said, I said the people or people, which is correct? Again, it depends on the context. Both of them can be correct. If you're talking about people specifically, all right, the people are marching, then we know which people that we're talking about. We can see them or we know them personally. If we say, people like to travel, no article, we're just talking about people in general. All right. So this is where it can kind of be a little confusing. So this next one. All right. Let's go over this. Washington Boulevard. It is, like I said, it is a street. Do we use articles with street names? All right. No. All right. We just say there is no article in front of Washington Boulevard. It is just Washington Boulevard is named after George Washington is a person. Do we use articles with people? No. All right. So this one, again, Washington Boulevard is named after George Washington. All right. I think, again, this is where it becomes a little tricky. I think when to use the no article. I think oftentimes, even advanced learners, you'll sometimes hear they'll throw an article in there before a street name or before maybe a mountain or something. And again, it's not going, people will still understand what you're talking about, but these are little small mistakes that we can always correct. So let's do another one. All right, I got a couple more for you. Here's one. All right, if you're just joining us, we're doing a little practice with the definite article the and the zero article. All right, let me make this a little bigger. Voila. All right, so we have Danube River flows into Black Sea. All right, so we're talking about a river in Europe. I'm using this because we live right next to this river, so I almost gave you the answer. And we're talking about sea. All right, what do you think? We didn't necessarily we talked about some bodies of water, whether we should use the definite article or no article. What do you think? All right, Danube River flows into Black Sea. All right, what are we going to use with this one? What do you think? Again, if you're just joining us, don't be shy. Write your answers in the chat. If you can, write the whole sentence if there's time. So we are talking about two nouns. The river, I just don't, the river, and we're talking about, I'll just tell you, the Black Sea, okay? So again, with rivers, again, we are going to use the definite article the. The Danube River flows into, again, when you're talking about oceans, we use the definite article the. And when you're talking about seas, we also use the bodies of water, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. All right, we are going to use the definite article the. The Danube River flows into the Black Sea. Let's do another one. This one I think we can all relate to. How about this question right here? What do you guys think? Okay. Boom. All right, let me make this a little bigger. All right, so we have YouTube is great for learning English. All right, again, in this sentence, we have two nouns. Are we going to use the definite article, the, or are we going to use no article? All right, two nouns. We are talking, we have the first noun, YouTube, and the next noun, English. It's a language. All right, we are all teaching English. Some of you also teach English, and some of you are learning English. All right, but that's why we're all here. So, what do you think again about this one? YouTube is great for learning English. All right, this one's a little tricky. I went over those rules, but I didn't probably get specific enough to also make this an example. But this is good practice. What do you think? Are we going to use definite article the or no article? So we are talking about YouTube. Again, this is a name. All right, it's like the name of a thing. I said with names, we don't use an article. All right, that includes the names of people. All right, the names of companies, the names of cities, and the names of countries. All right, so with names, we use no article. We would just say YouTube is great for learning, again, languages. No article is great for learning English. Okay, YouTube is great for learning English. I hope all of you feel that way because we're on YouTube right now. All right, let's do one more. All right, one more right here. The last one is this. And let me resize this a little bit for you. Okay, so we have Mount Everest is tallest mountain in world. All right, there are three nouns in this sentence. Mount Everest, we're talking about mountain and world. All right, what are we going to use? Which are we going to use? The definite article the or the no article? And you can just write an X. All right, what do you guys think for this one? All right, again, I'll give you a moment. We're talking about, there are three nouns in this one: Mount Everest, mountain, and world. Okay, what do you think? Mount Everest is tallest mountain in world. All right, getting some answers in here, which is great. Excellent, excellent. All right, so let me go over this. Let's do this one at a time. Again, if you're watching this, if you're not live in the chat and you happen to be watching this later, again, use the comment section. Write these sentences in the comments. It's good to use the language and keep practicing. That is the best way to learn, because then you're not only listening, you are actually producing and doing something. So let's look at these one at a time. We're talking about Mount Everest. It is the name. It is a mountain, all right? With mountains, we do not use an article, all right? So we just say Mount Everest. This one, I meant to point this out to you before. We're talking about tallest mountain. It is the superlative, okay? So when you're talking about superlatives, we would use the. You always use the with the superlative. The reason for this is because you are being specific. You are identifying something, one thing, among all other things. All right, talking about Mount Everest. Among all the other mountains, it is the tallest. We're saying something specific about the mountain. So the tallest mountain. All right. And finally, the last one, again, we're talking about the noun world. How many worlds are out there that you guys, know about? How many are, there's really just one. There's one Earth. There's one world that we are referring to. So it is the world. All right. Because there's Mount Everest is here. So Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. So I want to practice one more thing with the superlative. So again, I'm going to ask you guys a question. All right. Which type of pizza is the best? All right. I'm asking you a question, just practicing using the superlative. Which type of pizza is the best? Write it in the chat, all right? Or if you're watching this later, again, write it in the comments. Let us know which is the best. It's always good to practice using these articles. Again, with the superlative, you want to use the definite article the best, the greatest, the fastest, the smartest, the tallest. All right. So let's see. Again, to review, the last thing I'd want to say is remember, these are some of the rules that we went over. These are not all of the rules. There are more, but it is good to keep these things in mind when you're talking about articles. Okay? So, again, that is all for our lesson today on the definite article the and the zero article, which is just no article. We will continue some of these lessons in the future, and I might probably do another lesson on the indefinite article, a and an. Save that for another time. But it's great practice. These are small things that learners, no matter which level you're at, sometimes can confuse people and make some of these simple mistakes. All right. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you're watching it later, please give us a thumbs up. Write to us in the comments. Write a question. Write a comment, and we will respond and get back to you. Okay? And if you want to be very helpful to us, share the video on Facebook, Twitter, whatever type of social media you might be using, so we can spread the word and help others who are trying to practice and improve their English. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. So I will see Irina, Eduardo, Furkat, you said I'm late. I'm sorry. We're getting ready to wrap things up. And again, just for food for thought, wrap things up means it is ending. But you will be able to watch the video because it will be on our video list on our YouTube channel. So thank you guys for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Next Saturday, we will do another live lesson. Not really sure what time just yet. Probably early afternoon. I will make a post on Facebook and Twitter. All right. Marcella, thank you. Damith, I don't know the name. Target English Spoken Club. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Have a great weekend. We will see you guys next time. So long.